Welcome to another episode of the Parra Cave podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Parra Cave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Parra Cave podcast. And look, Parramatta Eels victorious over the Newcastle Knights in their trial number 1 in the pre-season challenge. So I thought I'd jump on and do a little bit of a game review, which is something that I will do throughout the season, as a lot of people have asked me my thoughts on the trial game and what I was impressed with and what I liked and what I didn't like. There wasn't much actually that I did not like. I was very impressed, and look, I know it is just a trial game, but look, you want to go out and you want to win every single game that you play, no matter what, in my opinion anyway. If I was a player of first grade level, I would want to win every single game. As my wife always says, I'm pretty competitive in everything that I do, so I would want to win every single game. Now, it is just a trial game. We did see some of the big guns missing from this game. Obviously, Mitchell Moses, Zac Lomax, two biggest ones that weren't playing. They were seen on the sidelines cheering their teammates on. And so there is still a lot of experience and big-name players to come back into this side. But what I did see on the weekend, I was very impressed with from the Parramatta Eels that ran out winners 44 points to 18 over the Newcastle Knights, which leaves them on 5th place on the pre-season challenge, a challenge that is worth $100,000, so a nice little pickup if you can win that one. Probably throw that into the club kitty, and gee, that would be one hell of a end of season trip, wouldn't it, to anywhere pretty much for $100,000, but I'm not too sure what they would do with that money, to be honest, but that's what I'd be doing with it, celebrating an end of season trip. But look, to the game, and look, the first set of the game, Charlie Geimer, we missed him a bit late last year. We got a great taste of him in his debut game. One of the players that really burst on the scene in that first game, only played 2 games and I think suffered an ankle injury, which saw him out for the rest of the year, but he is back this year. And in that first set of that game, I think he did like 3 tackles in that first set. So very tenacious player is Charlie Geimer, and I really hope that he gets some minutes this year in this side somewhere. The good thing about the Parramatta side this year is there is a lot of competition for spots. And look, Charlie Geimer in the back row there, he will be competing against a lot of players to get either a starting spot or a bench spot. So I would really like to see him play more first grade, because that just really showed me what he can do, and the intensity that he was playing. 3 tackles in the first set, that is unbelievable. Dylan Brown, look, a lot of expectation was on him, I guess, to run this team. A lot of talk about him over the last few weeks, about his contract and about the money that he was on or being offered or reported in the news about his contract, $1.2 million. Apparently there is 3 clubs chasing him. My honest opinion is that I think he will stay at Parramatta, but look, a lot of expectation on Dylan, and look, his try, a great try that he scored. His running game, threw a couple of dummies, and it was only after 3 minutes that he scored that try. So he had a pretty solid game, which is what you would probably come to expect from Dylan, especially with all this contract talk going on around in the rugby league world. But 10 runs, 104 metres, and scoring that 1 try. Wiramu Greg, we saw him late last year in first grade. He had some pretty early good charges, 5 runs for 60 metres. I thought early on in the game he looked pretty impressive, I thought. He'll be fighting for one of those front row spots that have been left vacant by Regan Campbell-Gillard, RCG, who's gone up to the Gold Coast. New signing at the club, Katoni Kotoga. He looked pretty dangerous. He had one around the corner pass and a couple of hard charges. I think he earned the side a couple of penalties as well. In my opinion, I think he looks like one of these players that could do these really flashy plays, really flashy passes, but could also have a bit of a mistake in his game as well. But I don't mind that if he's going to try, as long as it's not close to your line, if it's in a good position, if he's trying that, well, hey, why not give it a crack? But I certainly did like the look of him. It was the first time that I've seen him in action, to be honest. So he had a couple of good hard charges. And again, playing in the back row, he'll be fighting for one of those spots as well. Brendan Hands attempted a 40-20 from dummy half. Look, it went out on the full, unfortunately. But look, I don't mind the attempt. And look, we had seen in the past with Reid Marnie at Parramatta, and also now that he plays at Canterbury as well, he has tried that as well. And look, I don't mind that option. It's only a trial game. We're not playing for competition points. But he had a crack, and look, it just went out. And look, again, it just adds another kicking option in the team as well. So that was really good to see, I think. And I think he will start in the number 9 position for the Eels. One player who I was also excited to see play as well was Isaiah Iongi, the fullback that is most likely going to replace Clint Gutherson at fullback. He absolutely did a great pass. If you can check it out, a great pass to Jake Tungo, who scored in the corner for the Eels. And look, that was a cracker of a pass. And check it out if you can, and just check it out. Look, that's another ball playing option that Parramatta will have at fullback there, chiming into the line. And as I said, he was one of the players that I was excited to see, but he will have his hands full, I guess. Well, I think he will be the early favourite to get that fullback position, but Joash Papali'i, he had a cracker of a game as well. 11 runs, 123 metres. There was one point there where he broke the line, I think it was, offloaded, scored a try as well. And it just looked so easy. It was a Riley Smith, who was another one who had a cracker of a game, I thought, as well. Everyone was sort of saying, he should be in the starting side or definitely on the bench as well. Look, that's only after just one game, so I think he will probably play in this week's trial against the Tigers as well, and we'll get another see of him. But Joash Papali'i, he had a great game as well. He was in and around everything, played a bit of fullback in the second half. So I think he and Isaiah will be fighting for that number 1 position, starting position, and he'll also, if he can't get that starting position at fullback, he'll be wanting to maybe get that 14 position on the bench. I don't know where we will play. Parramatta would play Joash at 14. I mean, obviously, he can play fullback, probably wing centre, probably maybe anywhere in that back line, but be good cover to have. But is it a bench spot that you want to give someone? So he will certainly be in competition with Isaiah for that fullback position. Another player who had an absolute cracker of a game after a long layoff in the game due to injury was Ronald Volkman. His ball playing absolutely outstanding. His kicking game was pretty good, and the no-look passes that led to tries, I think the one to Kelma Tuilagi, who had a great game as well. That was a cracker of a pass, no-look pass. His goal kicking as well, pretty solid. And it was great to see him out in the field, as I said, after such a long layoff from injury from the game. So I don't think played last year, so it was a really long time before we see him. Unfortunately, not available until round 10 or 11, I think it is. So, but good depth for the Parramatta Eels in that halfback position. Can even cover at 5'8" as well. So very good signs from Ronald Volkman. As I mentioned, Riley Smith, he had a great game. The tackle that he made to trap the Newcastle player in goal, that just showed good energy, which is good, which is what you want from your players. And a little probably unknown fact until Friday night, but he's actually a dual Australian schoolboy in cricket and rugby league. So that's pretty outstanding talent, sporting talent there, pedigree. But thankfully he has chosen rugby league, and he has chosen the Eels. And hopefully we might see a little bit more of him. I think he will find it hard. I guess, he's in a battle for that hooking position. Brendan Hands, Joey Lussick as well, who when he came onto the field, he sparked a little bit of energy into the side. Some short side plays led to tries. The one to Arthur Miller-Stephen, who scored 2 tries, and but he added that spark when he came on. He obviously had that experience playing first grade, so he will be in the battle with Brendan Hands and also Riley Smith as well. I think Riley will play New South Wales Cup. I could be wrong, and I definitely hope I am wrong, because from what I saw, he certainly can be at that first grade level, but a little bit more experience in New South Wales Cup will do him no harm. Apart from that, Kelma Tuilagi, who I said before, scored a great try, ran a great line, showed some great pace as well. There was one, I think, attempt, nearly a try, where the ball was kicked over to him. He knocked it back, so potentially that could be a plan in place for the rest of this year as well, for kicks towards him as well. But I'm really excited to see him kick on in 2025. Showed some great promising signs last year at the Eels, his new club. He's been around for a while, but his new club, the Parramatta Eels, he showed some great signs, and I'm really hoping he has a big 2025. Again, with this depth that's happening at Parramatta, he will be fighting for either a bench spot or a second row spot. Look, I think possibly he could get the starting second row spot, which would be great to see. I think he probably deserved that after the weekend. I know it's only a trial game, but I think he will be playing again against the Tigers as well. I think we may see what we think might be a near full-strength side line up against the Tigers this weekend, this Friday night at Leichhardt Oval. I think you'll see the likes of Mitchell Moses, Zac Lomax play. So I think this could be potentially what a round one side looks like, barring injuries and the like. So this will be, and suspensions obviously, but this will be, I think, will be close to a full strength side that you will see the Parramatta Eels run out with. So look, impressive signs from the team that played on Friday night. Good for the young fellas to get a run around against the first graders of Newcastle, who again also didn't necessarily play their full strength side as well, but they certainly did have a lot of experience in their side. But always good to see the young blokes get a run, and the first graders as well. So, especially for Parramatta anyway, being a Parramatta fan myself. So, yeah, great to see that on Friday night. And the first hit out for the season for the Parramatta Eels. A little bit of controversy off field that happened that has been well documented. Joe Ofahengaue was seen dacking, the old school dacking, Zac Lomax, who was being interviewed by the Fox League reporter Eloise Sawyer, and it was caught on camera. It was on the sideline, then it was posted on social media and the like. Now, I haven't spoken to anyone at the Eels, but I have only read what is on social media, and they are not happy about what has happened. And look, it's sort of a little bit of a, I guess, yes, I can understand that is not a good look, and it's something that you don't want to see on your, I guess, on your screens and in social media, because it gets highlighted and the like. But you're trying to create a new culture at the club, and look, is it the worst thing in the world to happen? No, not at all. I mean, we see high school kids do it. It's just a prank. Probably happens at training all the time, but the difference is that there's no cameras there, and it isn't in front of fans as well. Thankfully, it wasn't one of those full dackings where fans saw everything, fortunately, I should say. But I don't know, where do you guys stand on that one? Is it a storm in a teacup? Should Joe be fined or sit out this weekend's game or sit out round one? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think should happen. Look, as I said, personally, it's not the worst thing in the world to happen. It's not the world's worst crime. It's funny, but yeah, should you do it on a public stage like that? Probably not. I mean, we do hear the stories of sometimes players. Look, I heard the other day, I think it was on the Buy Round podcast with James Graham, Brian Fletcher doing it to Luke Ricketson at airports. Now, there's obviously no cameras around then, no TV cameras anyway, probably just mobile phone cameras, but, you know, Brian Fletcher doing it to Luke Ricketson in the airport terminal. So, look, it's football. They're football. It does happen. Probably not the best place to do it, but look, I don't think it's the worst crime in the world. It's just not a good look, and especially when you're trying to create that new culture. So I guess Joe will learn from that. Look, he has apologised for doing it, and hopefully that's the end of it, that we hear from it, about it. But you guys, you the listeners, let me know what your thoughts are about it. A lot of you listeners, I should say, did say that you were impressed with Joash Papali'i and Riley Smith as your players of the game. You were impressed with them. I can't disagree with that. I think they both went very well as well. So it's always good to listen to what you guys tell me in terms of who your players of the match were. So something we might do throughout the year. We might even have a player of the year, Parra Cave podcast player of the year. Maybe we might do a 3-2-1 or something like that. We'll see what happens. But those guys really stood out for you. And as I said, looking forward to the Tigers game coming up this Friday night at 8 p.m. on the 21st of February. It will be on Fox League again, as well, as they are covering all the trial games. Only 2 weeks to go this weekend until round 1 against the Storm, but it'll be interesting to see what sort of side runs out. The team will be named on Tuesday 4 p.m. as per normal. So, as I said, I'm expecting probably a few more experienced first graders, Junior, Mitchell, Zac. I think maybe even Zac Lomax, Josh Adokar might get a run. I think he's allowed to play in trial games, just not the All-Stars game, which was on the weekend, and obviously rounds 1 and 2 in the NRL. So we'll see a few more faces in this side. Good for them to get those combinations together. Whether they play the whole game or not, probably not. They probably will just play a half. Good to get some mileage into the legs and some game experiences into the legs. Look, people always say to me, "Oh, I hate trials. Why do they play trials?" It's just one of those things that they have to do in terms of preparation for the long season ahead. So it is one thing. Let me know also too what you thought of the all gold or yellow outfits that Parramatta wore on the weekend as their away strip. I don't actually mind it. I think it looks really good. I like the all yellow. The yellow socks, yellow shorts, gold yellow jersey. I actually like it. So it really stands out, and you're definitely not going to clash with any home side, that is for sure. But that is what they are going to run with this season. Let me know also if you were at the Newcastle game and what you experienced after the game. From what I saw on social media, the players were going around the ground, connecting with fans, which is great to see, something we haven't seen for a long time from a Parramatta side after games. And it was great to see the coach, Jason Riles, even getting selfies with the crowd as well, because that is something that he has been big on this season already, and also late last year as well when he took over the club as well, or took over the head coaching role, I should say, about connectivity, connection with the fans, with the members of the Parramatta Eels. So it was great to see him out and about with the fans after the game, getting pictures with them and the like. So if you're at the Newcastle game, please let me know what your experiences were like. Did you enjoy those experiences after the game? And what you saw there as well. So it is great to see that the connection between the team and the fans and members is really there after games. And as I said, something that will probably be there after games for season 2025. Now, as I said, the next game is on Friday night against the West Tigers at Leichhardt Oval, 8 p.m, the 21st of February. It'll be on Fox League, so check that one out. KO as well, I think it will be. So check that one out, and that will be round 2. That will be Parramatta's last trial game for the year. Chance to win $100,000. I don't know if they're going to go all out and just win that. I think they just want to get those game time into their legs and get that combination sort of working together in a game time. Well, it's not a simulation, is it? It's actually game time on the field. So it'll be great to see another Parramatta side run around, and it'll be round 2. And as I said, only 2 more weeks until the round 1 game against the Storm down there in Melbourne. So cannot wait. Hope you enjoyed this podcast, this review podcast of the game against the Newcastle Knights, where Parramatta ran out winners 44 points to 18 over Newcastle Parramatta versus Newcastle, 44 points to 18. Thank you very much for listening. Please, if you enjoyed this, please share it with your family and friends. I'd really appreciate the support. And until next time, the Parra Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Parra!
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Parra Cave podcast. See you next time.